A quorum is present. Will the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer this morning by our chaplain, Rabbi Mona Alfi, after which, please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Mr. Roy Ashburn.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was not only a man of faith, but also of action. His ability to translate words into deeds and beliefs into results was our blessing. For Reverend King, political action was motivated by his faith in the goodness of God and in humanity. He once said that he was convinced that the universe is under the control of a loving purpose, and that in the struggle for righteousness, man has cosmic companionship. Regardless of the name we might use in our own prayers for what Reverend King referred to as our cosmic companion, we are not alone in our personal pursuits of righteousness and goodness, or compassionate and moral action. When our actions are guided towards the good, the kind, the loving act, we are accompanied by a force greater than ourselves. May we walk in the path of the righteous, and may our actions be guided by a desire to do what is right and just. May we find inspiration in the deeds of the generations that came before us, who found strength from their faith in our Creator and in the goodness of humanity. May we, like them, bring redemption and hope into our land. May this be God's will. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Rabbi. Privileges of the floor. Are we recognizing Correa on this one?
No, you just say Senator Correa is asking permission.
Okay, Senator Correa has asked for permission for a camera on the floor. Without objection. So ordered. Okay, where are we?
We got the generals in the back.
Okay.
Senator Correa will be at the desk here.
Okay.
Recognize Senator Correa.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, the chair recognizes Senator Correa, who will present a resolution to Major General Wade of the National Guard.
Mr. President, before I get started, I'd like to ask for special permission to have a special guest on the floor, which is my son, Alex.
Without objection, Alex.
Now, if I can, Senators, I'd like to ask you to join me on this very momentous occasion to honor Ms. Leslie Wade, a three-star general, a distinguished spouse of General Wade, in her own right, California resident, who has contributed extensively to the people in the state through many activities. Ms. Wade transformed the Operation Ready Families program of the California National Guard from an underfunded peacetime support group to essentially a dynamic program able to support the families of deployed soldiers and their personnel across the state. This program has become a model of excellence that many other states continue to emulate today. Members, I take great pleasure in honoring Ms. Leslie Wade, again, a three-star general, for her exemplary record in community service to people of the state of California. Wait a minute.
So we'll do these.
Women rule the world again. And if I can, Senators, please join me also in honoring a two-star general, Major General William Wade II. He's the 44th Adjunct General of the California National Guard, appointed by Governor Schwarzenegger in 2005. He began his military career in 1970 when he first enlisted into the California Army National Guard. Ever since then, he's devoted his entire life to protecting and defending our precious freedoms. As the adjunct general, he serves as director of the state of California's military department and leads the largest, most tasked National Guard force in the United States. With an authorized strength of over 18,000, that is 18,000, Army National Guardsmen and another 4,900 National Air Guard members. General Wade successfully balanced state emergencies with federal deployment, and since his tenure began, the California National Guard has accomplished more than 450 military support to civil authority missions, deploying more than 12,000 National Guard personnel to assist civilian first responders during disasters and emergencies. His leadership also resulted in the establishment of the Education Assistance Award Program for our soldiers and air personnel, which provides California National Guard the ability to improve their education levels across the organization. He's recently been selected as Deputy Chief of Staff of Operations for Joint Forces Command Naples North Atlantic Treaty, or NATO, in Naples, Italy. So essentially, he goes from commanding tens of thousands to commanding hundreds of thousands. Today, I take great pleasure in honoring Major Wade, the 44th Adjunct General of the California National Guard, for his great record in leadership, his vast military knowledge and expertise. Senators, help me honor today Major William Wade. General Wade, if I may ask you to say a few words for us.
Thank you, Mr. President, honorable members of the Senate, Senate President Pro Tem Steinberg, Senator Correa. I want to thank you for this honor that you show my wife and I today. But just to make sure we're clear about this, this is not about myself or Leslie. This is about the 22,000 soldiers and airmen and their families of the National Guard and the over 4,000 civilian employees that support your California military department every day. And as we move forward, you need to understand that your Guard remains strong. Both your Army and Air Guard are over 100% strength. We continue to modernize our force every day with your support and the support of our federal legislators. And I only ask you to show the same level of support to my successor as you have shown me in making sure that our National Guard remains always ready, always there. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Major General Wade. Senator Price, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
I've got a resolution, Madam President. Colleagues, I'd like to recognize Roberto Gonzalez of Virgil Middle School.
Well, one moment, please. Secretary, please read. Okay, it is not a resolution. Okay. Senator Price, this is a recognition that you're going to bestow on the floor?
That's correct.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Roberto Gonzalez of Virgil Middle School in Los Angeles. Mr. Gonzalez is a 7th grade science teacher and the recipient of a Milken Educator Award. Hailed as the Oscars of Teaching by Teacher Magazine, the Milken Educator Awards publicly recognizes K through 12 teachers, principals, and specialists who are furthering excellence in education. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Gonzalez today.
Congratulations. Senator Negrete McLeod, did you have a similar acknowledgement?
I do. Thank you, Madam Madam Speaker. Sorry. Madam Pro Tem. What I have is actually Marisa Rivas, who is regarding she won the Oscars of Teaching, which is the Milken Educator Awards. She comes from San Bernardino. While she teaches in her English in her classes at Richardson Prep Middle School in San Bernardino, she teaches boredom is not one of the things she teaches. She gives her students a whirlwind of engaging activities to spark the students' creativity and spur academic achievement. She is in both scientific and artistic in creating her lesson plans. Her structured methods include gifted and talented education, which is the GATE program, strategies for all the learners in her classrooms. She has developed a well-researched sequential process to help students enjoy writing. Her students are responsive for incorporating technology into their finished products, and students present speeches on topics of their choice, complete with visual aids. Even though Rivas teaches middle school, she attends high school AP training seminars to ensure her curriculum will prepare students for a demanding AP schedule. And so with this, I hope that everybody joins me in recognizing Ms. Rivas for receiving the award and for all of her excellent help in her work with the students in my area.
Thank you, Senator Negrete McLeod. Is she in the Senate today? Okay, if you might want to. Okay, congratulations to you. Senator Kehoe.
Thank you, Madam President. San Diego is very proud to have a Milliken Family Foundation National Educator Award as well. And the educator that we honor here today from San Diego is Jamie Enix from the School of International Studies in San Diego. Jamie is chair of the International Baccalaureate English Department. And in fact, under her tenure, 100% of her seniors passed the International Baccalaureate English exam last year. She attended this high school where she was also a successful student in the program, and we offer our congratulations to the 2009 Milliken Family Foundation National Award Educator, to Jamie Enix. Thank you so much, and she's back here too.
Thank you. Senator Onestad. You recognize?
Mr. President, members, a point of personal privilege. Just gives me a great honor to be able to announce the arrival of the two newest Onesteds on the West Coast. Last Tuesday, my son and his wife, Tiffany, delivered twin girls. Both are now doing well. One was in intensive care, but as of today, both are home. Little Selah and Ava Onnested, and I intend to register them Republicans just as soon as I can. I had the privilege of holding them in my arms yesterday and feeding them their formula, and I'll tell you, it is just, it's great to be a grandpa. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Onestad, and thanks to a forward-thinking senator, your granddaughters can become registered at 17. That's another story. Senator Lowenthal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, have the great honor of introducing the winner of one of the winners of the 2009 Milken Educator Award. And I'm pleased to introduce to the members Ana Higuera, who is a Linwood High School teacher who teaches history from grades 9 through 12. She has been the coordinator of our AVID program, which underachieving middle and high school students are interested in college, go through a rigorous college prep curriculum to get their education on track. 90% of the students in the program at Linwood under the guidance of Anna have gone on to college over the past 3 years. Right. She has built up participation at Linwood High School to over 400 students. She arranges college tours. She stays and overnight stays for the students. Many of them have never seen a college campus before, and they'll be the first in their family to attend. She has inspired now a generation of students to go on to college, and I'm pleased to use as the Milken Award honoree, Ana Higuera.
Thank you, and congratulations to all of the Milken honorees. We appreciate your effort and service. Messages from the Assembly. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Mr. President, I am directed to inform your honorable body that the Assembly on this day passed Assembly Bill 127, 139, 177, 584, 658, 1378, 1399, 1436, 1586, 122, and Assembly Concurrent Resolution 104.
Reports of committee. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Mr. President, the Committee on Appropriations, to which were referred Senate Bill 408, 442, 771, 733, and 110. Mr. President, the Chair on the Committee on Rules, to which was referred Assembly Bill 289.
Motions and resolutions. Seeing none. Introductions and first reading of bills. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Joint Resolution 20 by Senator Alquist relative to taxation. Senate Bill 891, an act relating to in-home support services. Senate Bill 892 by Senator Alquist, an act relating to health care facilities. Senate Bill 893 by Senator Harmon, an act relating to decedents' estates. Senate Bill 894 by the Committee on Local Government, an act relating to local government. And Senate Bill 895 by Senator Huff, an act relating to vehicles.
Bills are deemed read. Consideration of the daily file. Second reading file. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 58, Senate Bill 503, Senate Bill 654, Senate Bill 675, Senate Bill 798, Senate Bill 810, Senate Bill 812, Senate Bill 21 with amendments, Senate Bill 228 with amendments, Senate Bill 376 with amendments, Senate Bill 390 with amendments, Senate Bill 808 with amendments, Senate Bill 26, and Senate Bill 518.
Senate third reading, item 19. File item 20.
Any senator wish to take up an item on the Senate third reading?
Any senator wish to take up an item on Senate third reading? Senator Padilla, you're recognized.
Yes, request to take up SB 525. I believe it's item 43.
Final item 42.
Final item 42.
Please read.
Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 525 by Senator Padilla, an act relating to correctional facilities.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, the growing presence of cell phones inside our state prisons presents a serious threat to the safety of not only correctional employees, but to other inmates and truly the general public as a whole. Cell phones in prisons have been used in recent years by prisoners to coordinate everything from drug dealing to murder and to the instigation of riots and violence inside our institutions. I began raising the issue as a member of the Rules Committee back in 2007 when we learned that in the calendar year 2006, there were 261 cell phones confiscated throughout our state prison system. Began asking questions, began my inquiries with somewhat response from the department. But let me tell you, the problem continues to grow. Last year alone, calendar year 2009, the number of cell phones that were confiscated, unlawful, illegal, unauthorized cell phones in our prisons, added up to 6,734. We've gone from 261 just a few years ago to nearly 7,000. 2 years ago, I introduced a bill, SB 1730, which made the unauthorized possession of a cell phone in a prison with the intent to distribute. First, it was a felony, amended down to a misdemeanor, ultimately held up in Senate appropriations due to fiscal concerns. Last year, our former colleague Senator Benoit introduced a bill, SB 434, which would have made it a misdemeanor for unauthorized possession by inmates. That bill, too, got caught up in the appropriations process, this time on the Assembly side. We had narrowed the scope from the additional penalty provisions to the requirement that correction employees go through a metal detector search process down to just the misdemeanor felony piece of the Benoit bill. To address the fiscal concerns of the two previous attempts at legislation trying to address this issue, I present to you SB 525, which specifically focuses on how cell phones get into prisons, people bringing them in unlawfully with the intent to distribute to a prisoner. We believe this addresses concerns about additional costs and appropriations in both houses, while at the same time getting to the crux of the problem. The proliferation of cell phones in prisons is not only unacceptable, it poses a serious threat to public safety. I ask that you join me in supporting this bill and this effort. I ask for your aye vote and recognize that Senator Harman, while not reflected in the bill in print, has agreed to join as a co-author as well.
Thank you, Senator Padilla. Senator Harman?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise in strong support of Senator Padilla's bill. This is an increasing problem of great significance in our prison system, the use of cell phones. They can be put to any different type of processes that can endanger the correctional officers there, can endanger visitors coming to these facilities. It's something that is long overdue, and I stand in strong support and urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Any other comment or debate? Mr. Padilla, you may close.
I ask for aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harman? Aye. Hollingsworth? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Semidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye.
Okay.
Correa is an aye. Cedillo, aye. Mr. President, ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. This measure passes. Senator Yee, for what purpose do you rise?
Can we go back to 41, please?
Without objection, proceed.
Item 41.
Item 41. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 438 by Senator Yee, enact relating to education.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is a rather straightforward bill. This is in regard to charter schools. There have been some questions raised as to whether or not charter schools need to abide by the First Amendment, which basically says that you do not exercise prior restraint even with student publications and other censorship. And this bill clarifies that no, that is not the case, that in fact students, when they check into a charter school, have not given up their First Amendment rights, and that's all it does. With that, urge an aye vote.
Is there any discussion or debate? Or debate? I see mics up, but nobody is. Senator, any discussion or debate? Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. Alquist. Ashburn. I. Calderon. I. Cedillo. I. Cogdill. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. Cox. I. Denham. I. DeSaulnier. I. Ducheney. Dutton. I. Flores. Hancock. I. Harmon.
So we'll go back to Yee.
Hollingsworth.
Go back to Yee.
Huff. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. I. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Romero. I. Runner. Semidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Weiland. Yee.
Aye.
Yee, aye. Ducheney, aye.
Call the absentees.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Flores. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Huff. Maldonado. Runner. Weiland. Mr. President.
Ayes 31, no 0. That measure passes. Senator Yee, you are
Item 43.
still recognized for which, sir?
Item 43.
Item 43. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 677 by Senator Yee, an act relating to human trafficking.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This bill is a replay of an earlier bill that was vetoed by the governor. The bill basically suggests that we're going to try to deter human trafficking by making those assets that are used in the commission of human trafficking a nuisance that needs to be abated. The governor's veto basically said that, well, there are other crimes where this would not then be applicable, and so we've expanded the bill this time to include other types of offenses, and so with that, urge an aye vote.
Any discussion on this matter? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Huff. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Weiland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Huff, aye. Hollingsworth, aye.
Price, aye.
Price, aye.
Call the absentees.
Alquist. Cedillo. Aye. Flores. Maldonado.
Ayes 36, noes 0. That measure passes. 45. Senator Opesa.
For the purpose of hearing two items following Mr. Yee, items 44 and 45. Item 44.
Secretary,
First,
please
if you-
read.
Senate Bill 270 by Senator Alquist, an act relating to public health.
Colleagues, I rise today to ask. Oops.
Who's taking them on because Alquist isn't here?
It's all right. Proceed.
Okay, thank you. I rise today to ask your support for a measure that will clarify ambiguities in the existing law relating to medical privacy breaches and health information technology. The bill clarifies that disclosure of medical privacy breaches can be suspended for law enforcement investigations rather than any law enforcement activity. This significantly narrows the limit on disclosure of medical privacy breaches. The measure also ensures that California's existing general privacy protections and medical privacy protections are not diluted as the state implements the health information technology provisions of the 2009 Federal Stimulus Act. This, I believe, has support on both sides of the aisle. I ask for your aye vote.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Senator, you may close.
Request an aye
Oh,
vote.
I'm sorry. Senator Steinberg, is your mic up for comment?
For purposes of presenting a bill when
Okay,
it's
un momento.
appropriate.
Soon.
Middle of the bill.
All right. Ms. Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Aye. Dutton. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa.
Aye.
Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee. Aye. Cogdill. Aye.
Ayes 33, no 0. That measure passes. Senator, pardon? You have another one? Senator
Yes,
Pesa.
request that we hear now item 45, please.
Item 45. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 732 by Senator Alquist, an act relating to Medi-Cal and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Colleagues, I'm very happy to present this on behalf of Senator Alquist. Beginning in August of 2010, the Department of Health Care Services will lose its authority to use provider bulletins unless this measure is adopted. Provider bulletins are a mechanism by which the Department of Health Care Services can deny any inappropriate exemption from the quality assurance fee that all Medi-Cal nursing homes must pay. Without the ability to use these provider bulletins, the state could lose access to some federal Medi-Cal funds for nursing homes. The quality assurance fee brings in over $600 million annually in state and federal funds. This is a narrowly tailored bill to strictly revise and provide for this authority. I believe there is support on both sides of the aisle. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Oropesa. Any discussion or comment? Seeing none, you may close.
Ask an aye vote, please.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Lou. I. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Romero. I. Runner. I. Semidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye. Mr. President, ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. That's on the urgency. Ayes 36, no 0. On the measure, ayes 36, no 0. Measure passes. Senator Harman, are you ready?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. File item 40.
File item 40. Secretary,
and,
please
47
read.
after that.
All right, one at a time. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 203 by Senator Harman, an act relating to child pornography.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I'm pleased to present SB 203 that ensures proper punishment for those that distribute child pornography over the Internet. The bill offers a long overdue language change that will enable prosecutors and juries to more easily convict criminals who target the most vulnerable members of our society. SB 203 remedies this evidentiary problem by amending the definition of distribute as used in current law so as to include it in that definition making available for access or possession over the Internet. This bill is supported by the California District Attorneys Association, San Bernardino County Sheriff, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Tulare Attorney's Office, California Probation, Parole, and Correctional Association, and California State Sheriff's Association. I'd ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Harman. Is there any discussion or comment? Mr. Lowenthal, are you commenting on this measure? Are you commenting on this measure? Okay. Seeing none, Senator Harman, you may close. I'm sorry.
Ask for your aye vote.
Senator McLeod.
I have a question. Mr. Harman, I know that I've been on the computer a couple of times, and then you go to websites and suddenly the stuff comes up. Would I be questioned to that I was downloading stuff in my computer? By accident, it came up and you went, oh my God, what is this stuff?
This deals with the definition of distributing pornographic material from one Internet site to another Internet site.
Thank you. So, okay.
Any further discussion? Senator Harman, you may close.
Ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. I. Alquist. Ashburn. I. Calderon. I. Cedillo. Cogdill. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. Cox. I. Denham. I. DeSaulnier. I. Ducheney. I. Dutton. I. Flores. Hancock. I. Harman.
Aye.
I. Hollingsworth. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. I. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Romero. I. Runner. I. Semidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye. Cedillo, aye. Mr. President, ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, noes 0. That measure passes. Senator Semidian.
I had a second.
I'm sorry, Senator Harman. Two more or one more?
Yes, one more.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is file item 47, Senate Bill 613.
Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 613 by Senator Harman, an act relating to water districts.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is a district bill, members. Senate Bill 613 would significantly reduce the cost of debt for general obligation bonds for the Irvine Ranch Water District located in my Senate district. By giving Irvine Ranch Water District the authority to use the district's overall strong credit rating in obtaining general obligation bonds, SB 613 would reduce the district's cost of debt by its projected millions of dollars and in turn save money for their customers. Specifically, SB 613 would allow the Irvine Ranch Water District to pledge revenues of the district for the purpose of enhancing the credit rating and providing liquidity for its improvement district bonds. This pledge will not create any new risk for the district. There's no opposition to this bill. I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Harman. Is there any discussion or debate? Is there any objection to using our previous roll call? Ayes 36, no 0.
Thank you.
That measure passes. Thank you, Senator. Senator Simitian.
Thank you.
For what purpose do you rise?
I rise to present on file item 38, which we passed over while I was off the floor, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 22 by Senator Simitian, enacting to hazardous materials.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, you all will recall that back in 2008, Assemblymember Fura and I passed a pair of bills with bipartisan support to help work with the administration on the Green Chemistry Initiative. That set the foundation not only for the initiative, but for the creation of a toxic information clearinghouse. This bill simply clarifies that OEHA may recommend procedures for expediting the review and identification of hazard traits. As part of that process of building the Toxics Information Clearinghouse, clarification is needed to make sure that OEHA and DTSC work together efficiently to develop the most effective way to identify those hazard traits. I do want to acknowledge, members, that the Green Ribbon Science Panel will be conducting just its first public meeting with DTSC and OEHA on the clearinghouse implementation at the end of this week. For that reason, it's important that the bill move forward, but additional amendments may be needed to further direct policy once we hear from them. We'll, of course, commit to bringing the bill back through the appropriate committees. If and when that happens, respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Ashburn? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? No. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? No. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simitian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Weiland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, aye to no. Kehoe, aye. Ashburn, no. Aye. Mr. President, ayes 22, noes 14.
Ayes 22, noes 14. That measure passes. Thank you. Senator Lowenthal.
Item number 37.
Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 454 by Senator Lowenthal, an act relating to land use.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. SB 454 deletes the sunset on 3 sections of law that facilitate the preservation of affordable housing. As we all know, it's a lot cheaper to maintain the current stock of affordable housing than to replace it. These laws have all been worked out over the years with property owners and with residents, and they strike a fair balance between the rights of property owners and the obligations imposed upon in exchange for a public subsidy. There's no opposition to this bill. It has received unanimous votes in all the committees that before, and I urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowenthal. Any further discussion or comment? You may close.
I urge your aye vote.
Mr. Secretary, please read the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal?
Aye.
Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Papley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye. Mr. President, ayes 34, no 0.
Ayes 34, noes 0. That measure passes.
I have one other item.
Senator Lowenthal, one more.
Item number 39.
Please.
SB 189.
Please read, Secretary.
Senate Bill 189 by Senator Lowenthal, an act relating to mechanics liens.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. California's mechanics lien law was first enacted in 1850. Over the years, the law has become confusing and costly for participants, and who often end up, because of this confusion, in litigation. SB 189 is an omnibus bill that reorganizes, restates, and modernizes the existing mechanics lien statute to improve its clarity and its usability, make some substantive changes to standardize the procedures, and becomes effective in January 1, 2012 to allow the industry and homeowners to become familiar with the new reorganization. SB 189 has bipartisan support and also has come out without any no votes.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Papley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland?
They all look alike.
Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye. Mr. President, ayes 33, noes. Hollingsworth, aye. Mr. President, ayes Strickland, aye. Mr. President, ayes 35, noes 0.
Ayes 35, noes 0. That measure passes. Senator Correa.
For the purpose of taking up two items, file item 33 and file item 34.
Please read.
Senate Bill 694 by Senator Correa, an act relating to public contracts.
Senators, this item extends the time limit for the California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Commission to review and act on disputes on whether local agencies have followed the Uniform Public Contract Construction Cost Accounting Act. As for an aye vote.
Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. Dusanier. Aye. Ducheney. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Papley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee. Aye. Mr. President, ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, noes 0. That measure passes. Senator Correa, one more?
Yes. Senate Bill 1414 requires the Board of Supervisors in
I'm sorry, which measure? Senate Bill 34?
Item number 34, Senate Bill 414.
You may please read. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 414 by Senator Correa, an act relating to county retirement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, this item requires the Board of Supervisors in the 1937 Act counties to hold elections within 90 days to fill vacancies among the 4 members representing system participants on either the boards of retirement or boards of investment. This item also eliminates the Board of Supervisors' ability to limit an alternate member's access to closed sessions and participation in various board deliberations. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate? Senator Cox.
In opposition to this measure, as I pointed out to Senator Correa, when this bill was presented, by and large, the Board of Supervisors doesn't need this bill to do their job. And what Senator Correa is attempting to do is to force the Board of Supervisors into doing something which they already have the ability to do. And for the most part, I know particularly during the time that I was a member of the Board of Supervisors for Sacramento County, my basic approach was if we could just keep the state legislature out of our business, we'd be a lot better off. And I will tell you, members, those of you that remember serving on boards of supervisors or city councils, by and large, you did your job on a timely basis, efficient and effective basis, and you didn't need the California legislature to tell you that you needed to hold an election to make an appointment to an investment committee. That was the sole jurisdiction of the entity of which you represented it. And so I appreciate the work that Senator Correa has done, but in the final analysis, it's not necessary. And by and large, the members of the Board of Supervisors and up and down this state are saying to this legislature, just stay out of our business. We'll handle it. Ask for a no vote.
Any further discussion? Senator Harmon.
Question for the author.
Without objection.
Senator Correa, has CSAC taken a position on this bill, and if so, could you tell me what it is?
Check and see.
It doesn't show in my analysis, and I was kind of surprised.
I was trying to determine whether the most recent analysis had shown it. I don't believe they've taken a position, although I'm not sure.
Have you had discussions with them informally, or do you recall on the bill?
I don't recollect specific discussions, but I have not seen them, engage in this issue.
All right.
And as the measure goes through, I'm hoping that they'll engage.
All right. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Mr. Correa, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Senator Cox is absolutely correct when he makes his point about us having to compel the locals to hold an election to fill these vacancies. If the locals were to hold these vacancies as the bill stipulates within the 90-day time period, then there would be no need for this piece of legislation. So again, it's one of those perspectives of if you do this job timely, then there's no need for the bill, but clearly that has not been the case in all counties. Second aspect of this bill, which I think is also really interesting, is it eliminates the Board of Supervisors' ability to limit an alternative member's access to closed session information. And I don't know about you, but I've sat on local boards, and when you're an alternate to some of these meetings, when you don't get the information, you walk into these board meetings absolutely blind as to what the issues are in front of you. And what this bill does essentially says is when you're an alternate, you have the ability to have access to that information so that when you have to make a vote, you can make an informed decision. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Ashburn? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? No. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? No. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Mr. President, ayes 23, noes 13.
Ayes 23, noes 13. That bill's on trial. Measure is passed. Senator Pavley.
Yes. I would like to take file item A2 off of the inactive file.
Without objection?
Without objection.
Senator Wright.
I have two items, Mr. President, file item 31 and 35.
You may proceed. Mr. Secretary, please read item 31.
Senate Bill 356 by Senator Wright, enact relating to regulations.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, originally file item 31, SB 356, was a much broader bill that dealt with regulations. Those regulations, it was determined in appropriations, would have cost a whole lot more than we would have been able to do. This bill has been substantially narrowed. It now simply gives standing to small business associations the right to go in and challenge the Administrative Procedures Act. So it is no longer the same SB 356 that it was. It is still sponsored by the California Small Business Association and the National Federation of Independent Businesses. I would ask for an aye vote.
Any more discussion or debate? Please call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Correa? Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Flores? Hancock? No. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? No. Wolk. Aye. Wright.
Aye.
Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Correa, aye. Corbett, aye. Leno, aye. Oropesa, aye. Mr. President, ayes 34, noes 2.
Ayes 34, noes 2. That measure passes. Mr. Wright, you had one other measure?
Yes, file item 35.
Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 580 by Senator Wright, an act relating to child support.
Thank you. The federal government changed the law, members. It's called the Deficit Reduction Act of 2005. SB 580 conforms California to the federal regulation with respect to child support. Specifically, it deals with medical payments, and it assures that if the person paying child support has access to reasonable or no-cost health care, that it be provided to the child being supported by the act. Again, this bill was sponsored by the Department of Child Services of the state to conform California to the federal law. I would ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion or debate? Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Leno. Aye. Liu. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Correa, aye. Liu, aye.
Call the absentees, please.
Alquist. Flores. Kehoe. Aye. Maldonado.
Ayes 36, no 0. That measure passes. Mr. Steinberg. What? Okay. You'll hold off? Okay. Where are we? Is there any further business on Senate third reading? Any measures on Assembly third reading? Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
I think so. Steinberg wants to take up his item. Senator Steinberg.
Senator Steinberg, Senator Price actually has a resolution.
That's fine.
On third reading.
Okay. And Senator Steinberg, you have a measure that you would like to take up at this time? Okay. We have a couple. Senator Price, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
Thank you, Madam President, members. Last week, we passed SCR 61, which recognized January as National Mentoring Month. Today, I'm honored to have as my guest representatives of the Children Uniting Nations program, Athena Ziman, the founder and chair, Cynthia Hurd, the vice president, and Brandon Keyule, Community Affairs, and Ken Marionette, CEO of charity Catholic Big Brothers and Sisters. Children Uniting Nations is an organization created to bring attention to the plight of at-risk youth, at-risk foster youth. The goal of the organization is to teach as many children in out-of-home care by offering role model support, guidance, and a sense of community, while also promoting the importance of education. Inspired by the Day of the Child, CUN wanted mentoring to be more accessible to children living in foster care, and therefore created a mentoring program to be administered in every major city in our country. As chair and founder of Children Uniting Nations, Mrs. Ziman has committed herself to creating a systemic changes that positively impact the lives of at-risk and foster children. She pioneered the LA County mentoring model, which presents a viable solution to the challenges facing children in foster care, and a pilot program for national replication. In addition, Mrs. Ziman has played a pivotal role in the establishment of homeless missions, as well as a school in East Los Angeles for gang members. Mentoring is a proven strategy for helping children and young adults reach their full potential by pairing them with caring, responsible adults who can provide guidance, direction, and build confidence. In the spirit of public service, I find it befitting to read this quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Quote, "All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence." Today, colleagues, I commend the Children Uniting Nations organization for their accomplishments and encourage each of you to continue to serve as mentors and role models for the children of California. To Children Uniting Nations, I wish you much success in the future and thank you for your dedicated service to the state of California. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Senator Price, and thank you to the guests who are here today to receive that acknowledgement. Senator Kehoe, for what purpose do you rise?
Madam President, to move item 64 to the inactive.
Desk will note. Senator Steinberg, would you care to do your motion to adjourn? Senator Denham, for what purpose do you rise?
On condition of the file.
Please proceed. Go ahead.
Madam President, members, in case you're not aware, today marks the first day that thousands of prisoners in state prison and county jails are eligible to be early released. SB XXX passed this House with a bare minimum of 21 votes and the Assembly with the bare minimum 41 votes last fall. Last week I had a bill, SB 440, which was a 2-year bill that would have made many of our felons that are considered nonviolent, non-serious, but have committed crimes such as child abuse, stalking, and human trafficking, would have upgraded those felonies so that they would not be able to be early released. I just wanted to take a brief moment. The Bureau of Justice Statistics, don't just take my word for it, but the Bureau of Justice Statistics, among the 91,000 property offenders released, nonviolent felons, property offenders released, 21.9% were rearrested for violent crimes, including 726 murders, 637 rapes, 5,735 robberies, and 12,475 assaults. Interestingly, car thieves, which represented just over 10% of all the offenders released, were arrested for committing more than a third of the murders and a disproportionate number of violent crimes. In conclusion, it is virtually certain that the release of these inmates will have a real impact on local spending, initially for the costs of increased rehabilitation programs. Local governments would be responsible for the law enforcement cost of investigating new crimes committed by released inmates, along with the costs of their rearrest and prosecution. The highest price will be paid by the people of California, who will suffer injury, property loss, and death at the hands of known criminals turned loose by legislators to save money, or by a panel of life-appointed federal judges who cannot be held accountable. Relearning the clear lessons of the past will come at a very high price.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Steinberg, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, I'd like to adjourn in the memory, if I might.
You may.
We talked a week or two ago on the death of Will Smith, who, of course, was a current and standing member of of the legislative family. We lost another legislative staff member, former legislative staff member, far too young, yesterday. Patricia Habel, otherwise known as Patty Habel, who was a long-time assistant here in the Capitol, died yesterday at the age of 49 of lung cancer. She left her husband, Timothy J. Howe, who was a chief of staff to Assemblymember Lloyd Connolly and a longtime public servant as well, and her son John Howe, who was 14 years old. She also left her mother, her brother, 2 sisters, 2 stepchildren, a number of nephews, and she was also the expectant grandmother of twins. She was born July the 20th, 1960. She was the quintessential American, the descendant of pilgrims on her father's side and of immigrants on her mother's side. She had a very good career, was respected by all. She worked on the re-election campaign of Senator Leroy Green. She went to work in the district office of Congressman Vic Fazio. In 1985, she went to work in the Capitol. She worked with and for Johan Clays, Tom Umberg, Kerry Mazzoni, and Betty Carnett, and had an expertise in matters relating to public education from 2001 to 3. She worked with the Davis administration as the Assistant Secretary of Education. She was known for a wonderfully positive personality, and I knew Patty a little bit, but I really know her through the legions of friends and admirers she had among the staff here in the Capitol, who loved her and often commented that even during her most difficult and trying times, life was good and life was a blessing. There'll be services this Friday at 1:30 at the Trinity Cathedral Church at 27th and Capitol Avenues. And if anyone is in town among the membership, I'll be there. I hope others might pay their respects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Romero.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, likewise, I rise with a very heavy heart to ask us to adjourn in the memory of a very special woman of joy, woman full of life, and that was Melinda Melendez. I always said that her name was a name that belonged to an actress, Melinda Melendez, and she always just relished in rolling out all the syllables. We lost her last week. She was first brought to this Capitol by then Assembly Member John Vasconcellos back in 1982. And he did contact our office last week and said that he was deeply saddened at her loss, but he was so proud that he had recognized her potential by bringing her into the building for the first time. And after working for the Assemblyman, she stayed in leadership offices in the Assembly. She worked for many speakers, Speaker Antonio Villaraigosa, Bob Hertzberg, Herb Wesson. She worked also for the late Assemblyman Marco Firebaugh. She worked here in this Senate for Senator Alquist, and then she came to my office where she served as my chief education policy consultant. I know many of you knew Melinda. I was oftentimes amazed. Just everybody seemed to know Melinda. I would be in the Central Valley and people knew her. I would be in San Jose. People knew her. They didn't just know her. They knew what she stood for, and she stood for equality of access to education for all children. She started her work as a bilingual teacher working in the migrant education program. Born in Dinuba, California, she never forgot where she came from. She graduated from the CSU. She worked on her doctorate at Stanford, and she was always very proud that a young girl from Dinuba could enter and work be at Stanford. She never completed the dissertation, but anybody who knew her knew she was a walking dissertation on all things education. She received awards and accolades from so many entities, and I know a lot of the fellows here in the building often said that she was like a madrina, a godmother who worked with them to help them become just better people and to be committed public servants. There's so much that I could say about her credentials, but I also just knew her as a friend and an ally and a sister. There's the song that we often sing, De Colores, which means the colors. And anybody who ever knew Melinda knew that she wore bright, vibrant colors, teals and turquoise and purples and maroons and burgundies, big earrings and big jewelry, just to go with her big heart and her great mind to accompany that great heart. But she was somebody who loved Boz Scaggs, figure that one out, enjoyed going to concerts. But the young girl from Dinuba, she was somebody who relished life and appreciated that at any moment, we can lose it. I know for me, on that last day, last Tuesday, she contacted me and said, could we have this meeting, very important meeting? And it wasn't on my schedule, but I knew it was important to her. So I said, yes. We met for an hour with representatives from an education foundation. Then we stayed talking. And she was in a hurry to make sure that she could get me the briefings to bring back to me. I know I finally was going to leave the building about 6, but before I did, and I know when Senator Runner spoke about your chief of staff, how oftentimes we absorb ourselves in the work and we don't look at the personal. Well, that day I am just very glad that we did have a moment to just think personally about all we had been through together. It's almost surreal now thinking about it, how we sort of walk back in time about battles that we've been to and trying to get good bipartisan education policy out of this House. And at the end, I told her, I just said, put work aside. Let me just tell you, Melinda, you look so pretty today. She looked beautiful that day, and we talked, and she was happy that she had just received a $100 gift certificate from Chico's. That's where she gets her bright colors from. And she was going shopping. It was a little after 6, and I told her, let's go. Would you like a ride to your car? She said no. She wanted to finish the work so that she could have her work done and ready for a briefing that I needed the next day. And so I remember I said, okay, I'm going to leave. And I turned the lights out on my end of the building. And the last thing I said to her was just be careful. And I got a call a couple of hours later from Tony Beard telling me that she had collapsed in the Capitol, had received aid. And I want to give special attention to Assemblyman Fletcher, who came to her aid. One of my staff said if anything ever happens to her, she wants Assemblyman Fletcher to be nearby. But I want to thank everybody who came to her aid, the CHP, the paramedics. She lost consciousness. She never regained it. And I want to give special thanks to Dina Hidalgo. Melinda didn't have family here in Sacramento. As Senator Runner, we are the extended family. So Dina and I went, and Tony Beard was there, and thank you. We stayed with her because we are family until her son could come in the next morning and her mother. I will certainly miss Melinda. She certainly, by the work she did, the passion she had, she has changed the lives and given opportunities to so many children in California. And the lights will always stay on in education policy because of the great heart that she had. Thank you, and rest in peace. The services will be Friday night and Saturday. If any of you would like more information, please contact my office. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Romero, for your very kind remembrances. Senator Cedillo?
I don't know much, Senator, to add to this great story of Melinda Melendez. You described her. She was back here. I was looking for her as I stood back here this morning because she was always with all her folders and with her that outfit. You described Chico. She kind of looked like Dion Aaroner in a way, And she would have liked being referred to kind of as that gypsy dress, with the real flamboyant colors. She was proud to be from Dinuba, a place that also gave us Miguel Contreras, the former leader of labor in Los Angeles, and Cruz Bustamante, a former speaker. There's something about that hot desert environment that brings us these great leaders. John Vasconcelos, thank you for giving her an opportunity. He had a tough choice to make, as he conveyed to us. Would he give an opportunity to this young Chicana, well-educated, a little intimidated by the thought of coming here to be a consultant, or would he go with a more traditional, experienced staffer from the building? And he gave her an opportunity, and she seized that opportunity and used it as a moment for her to grow, to develop, but also to share. She's one of the founding members of the Chicano Latino Youth Leadership Project, a project that shares this floor with us every summer. And she is the madrina, the mother, for so many young people who come up here. She has that patience and that kindness to mentor others. She is a friend, a mentor. She gave countless hours, and just a really special human being with a kind heart and a gentle spirit. We shall miss her all. Thank you.
Thank you, members, for those remembrances for Melinda Melendez and for Kay Berenson. Please bring forward the names so we can permanently acknowledge them in our records. If there's no other business, Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just to announce the schedule for the rest of the week, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday are check-in sessions. There'll be a Democratic caucus at noon tomorrow in the Maddie Lounge, and session Thursday at 9 o'clock, and we will work the file until we are done, as Thursday is the deadline for House of Origin bills in the second house, in the second year. So don't know how long that will last, but I'd ask all the members to please be here on Thursday, absent any sort of urgency or emergency, and we'll get the work done as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Please adjourn. Senate will be in